up there. Why? Because you ain't going to tell us how to speak. Give me Isaiah 58:1. The Lord told us how to speak.
Shut your mouth and just listen. Just hear what the word of God says. That's what develops our mind, to have confidence and trust in God. And that house still, and the house still doesn't hear. I said to a man today in my closing, he said, well, you know, I said to my wife, I got to learn Hebrew and speak Hebrew, so that's the only way you're going to understand the book. I said, my friend, I want to tell you something. The house that was wicked and rebellious are the one that spoke Hebrew, and they didn't learn a damn thing. I said it like that. How about that? They knew every word there was in the Hebraic language, all 3,200 words. And yet they lived wickedly and righteously and violent before you. I say, you're speaking Hebrew, man, is not going to change nothing. I know what words mean. I define words, and they're relative. They have the kind of the same meaning, although in Hebraic it may amplify it to a degree of greater clarity. No, you got to get your heart right. That's what we need. Hebrew doesn't get your heart right. It's Him. That is the Hebrew Yisraelite that gets your heart right. And He reveals what's in your nasty, dirty hearts. The heart is deceitful above all things.
Go ahead and read, Steve.
Genesis chapter 43, verse 12. And take double money in your hand, and the money that was brought again in the mouth of your sacks, carry it again in your hand. Peradventure it was an oversight. Take also your brother, and arise, go again unto the man. And Elohim Almighty give you mercy before the man, that he may send away your other brother and Benjamin. If I be bereaved of my children, I am bereaved. And the men took that present, and they took double money in their hand and Benjamin, and rose up and went down to Egypt and stood before Joseph. And when Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the ruler of his house, bring these men home and slay and make ready, for these men shall dine with me at noon.
Verse 25.
And they made ready the present against Joseph came at noon, for they heard that they should eat bread there. And when Joseph came home, they brought him the presents which was in their hand into the house, and bowed themselves to him to the earth. And he asked them of their welfare, and said, is your father well, the old man of whom you spoke? Is he yet alive? And they answered, your servant, our father, is in good health. He is yet alive.
Now, one part of that dream is being fulfilled. He said the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars had made obeisance unto him, right? So we see right here that the 11 stars did that, didn't they? Okay, go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 29. And he lifted up his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, and said, is this your younger brother of whom you spoke unto me? And he said, Elohim be gracious unto you, my son. And Joseph made haste, for his bowels did yearn upon his brother. And he sought where to weep, and he entered into his chamber and wept there. And he washed his face and went out and refrained himself and said, set on bread. And they set on for him by himself, and for them by themselves, and for the Egyptians which did eat with him by themselves, because the Egyptians might not eat bread with the Hebrews, for that is an abomination unto the Egyptians.
Right, because we ate their gods. See, we were a keeper of cattle. Our people were a keeper of cattle. And Pharaoh was called the son of Ra, the bull, right? So we ate their gods, so we were an abomination to them folks. But go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 33. And they sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth. And the men marveled one at another. And he took and sent messes unto them from before him. But Benjamin's mess was 5 times so much as any of theirs, and they drank and were merry with him.
45 and 1.
Then Joseph could not refrain himself before all them that stood by him. And he cried, cause every man to go out from me. And there stood no man with him, while Joseph was made known unto his brethren. And he wept aloud, and the Egyptians and the house of Pharaoh heard. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I am Joseph. Does my father yet live? And his brethren could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence.
Right. Wonder what this brother gonna do, man. We know this brother here gonna rip us off, man, because of what we did to him. So you can understand why now they understood why he was so rough with them, why they want him to go get the brother and so forth and so on. Now they understood these things, but they got another problem. They want to know what this brother gonna do. Yeah, go ahead, because he's second ruler. He can kill us all off in one word be said. Go ahead and read, brother.
Verse 4. And Joseph said unto his brethren, come near to me, I pray you. And they came near. And he said, I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. Now therefore be not grieved nor angry with yourselves that you sold me hither. For Elohim did send me before you to preserve life.
Amen.
For these 2 years have the famine been in the land, and yet there are 5 years in the which there shall be neither earing nor harvest. And Elohim sent me before you to preserve you a posterity in the earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance.
Praise Yah.
So now it was not you that sent me hither, but Elohim. And he hath made me a father to Pharaoh, and lord of all his house, and a ruler throughout all the land of Egypt. Haste you, and go up to my father, and say unto him, thus says your son Joseph, Elohim hath made me lord of all Egypt. Come down unto me, tarry not. And thou shalt dwell in the land of Goshen, and thou shalt be near unto me, you and your children, and your children's children, and your flocks, and your herds, and all that you have. And there will I nourish you, for yet there are 5 years of famine, lest you and your household, and all that you have, come to poverty. Verse 12. And behold, your eyes see, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin, that it is my mouth that speaketh unto you. And you shall tell my father of all my glory in Egypt, and of all that you have seen, and you shall haste and bring down my father hither. And he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck. Moreover, he kissed all his brethren and wept upon them, and after that his brethren talked with him. And the fame thereof was heard in Pharaoh's house, saying, Joseph's brethren are come. And it pleased Pharaoh well and his servants. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, say unto your brethren, this do you, lay your beasts, and go, get you unto the land of Canaan, and take your father and your households, and come unto me. And I will give you the good of the land of Egypt, and you shall eat the fat of the land. Now you are commanded, this do you, take you wagons out of the land of Egypt for your little ones and for your wives, and bring your father and come. Also regard not your stuff, for the good of all the land of Egypt is yours.
Now what this shows us is that Yahweh, and when we read these stories and so forth, we find out the one thing. Yahweh has always sent servants ahead to prepare his people for what's coming. In this time, he has servants out here that are preparing his people for the coming of Yahshua HaMashiach, simply because it's our time. 20, 30 years ago, a lot of folks didn't want to hear what's being said. But as we get closer to the time of our deliverance, remember, we only supposed to be here 400 years now. And as we get closer to our deliverance, you're going to find out that people, our congregation is steadily going to be increasing and steadily going to be increasing. But then when you look around, you're going to see another thing, that Satan is gathering his too. And if something doesn't take place, those will be the same people from among our people that's going to be purged out of that wilderness, simply because they're not going to want to deal with keeping the laws of the true and living God. Yet instead they're going to say, well, we love everybody. Right, right. So Yahweh's going to purge them out, 2/3 of the people. He's going to purge out of that wilderness. And once he purged them out, then the remnant is going into that secret place in the wilderness. The remnant that's left, these will be the rulers of the earth for 1,000 years. These are the ones that will inherit the land that was given to our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, from the river Nile to the great river, the river Euphrates. And as he said, as you grow, I'm going, when them kids start saying, give me a place to dwell, this place too close for me, man. Give me some place to dwell. I'm going to take other people land and give it to you. Why? Because the earth belongs to you, Israel. Chapter 46 and verse 1.
And Elder, you know, during this time, I guess they're trying to stave off the situation with the UN, because you got, you know, you saying this is our time for the regathering is coming close, but you see how the United States laid claim to the money that Ted Turner said he was sending over to the UN to take care of some business.
The United States need to pay their money to the UN.
Yeah, but that's what he said. He's saying basically the United States laid claim that money is to pay back the debt that is owed by the United States.
Well, the United States owed United Nations millions upon millions of dollars, brother, and they refuse to pay it simply because they're the hammer of the whole earth. They're going to keep their status as long as Judah here, so they really don't feel that they don't have to pay it. But the hold up in Europe, as far as the coming together of this beast is concerned, has to deal with the World Bank. The World Bank is the hold up on this, so keep an eye on what the World Bank is doing in that money market, because they're the ones that's keeping those new nations from coming in, because they don't want to, well, it's problems with their currency and so forth, with their credit. That's what basically is. Chapter 46 and verse 1.
And Israel took his journey with all that he had, and came to Beersheba, and offered sacrifices unto the El of his father Esau. And Elohim spoke unto Israel in the visions of the night, and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, Here am I. And he said, I am Elohim, the Elohim of your father. Fear not to go down into Egypt, for I will there make of you a great nation.
That's what I like about my God. He's going to always reveal himself to you, so you can receive the instruction, so you won't have to surmise that you're doing what's right. He's going to come to you and let you know what you got to do. But go ahead and read, my brother.
Yes, sir. Verse 4. I will go down with you into Egypt, and I will also surely bring you up again, and Joseph shall put his hand upon your eyes. And Jacob rose up from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel carried Jacob their father, and their little ones, and their wives, in the wagons which Pharaoh had sent to carry him. And they took their cattle and their goods, which they had gotten in the land of Canaan, and came into Egypt, Jacob and all his seed with him, his sons and his sons' sons with him, his daughters and his sons' daughters, and all his seed brought he with him into Egypt.
Verse 26.
All the souls that came with Jacob into Egypt, which came out of his loins, besides Jacob's sons' wives, all the souls were 66. And the sons of Joseph, which were born him in Egypt, were 2 souls. All the souls of the house of Jacob, which came into Egypt, were 70. And he sent Yehuda before him unto Joseph to direct his face unto Goshen, and they came into the land of Goshen.
48 and 1.